What is up, guys? Today I'm just making a quick video about moon clips. Yeah, I just wanted to go over it for anybody who is looking for this information. Because I got a comment the other day, some guy talking about how he didn't like moon clips because he kept on bending his moon clips. I didn't reply to him. I just wanted to share some info about what I know about moon clips from my experience and my use. There's going to be quite a few tips in here, what to look out for, what to understand about them as you're shooting. In case you're unaware, this is a moon clip. This one in particular is for my 8-shot 929 9mm revolver. They make other ones such as the 6-shot 45 ACP. They make the 5 shots. They make them for 357, 38. They make them for, I want to say, even 44 Magnum. It just depends if your gun is cut for moon clips. You see how wide this gap is back here at the rear face of the cylinder, right up to the back wall and the inside of the frame. So that has to be a little widened to fit the extra material of the moon clip along with your shells in the chambers. So plenty of guns do come directly from factory ready to go for moon clips, and also you can pretty much just about any gun, even the 500 Magnum, get it cut to accept some form of moon clips. Now the 500 Magnum I already discussed in some previous videos. The 500 Magnum can only be cut for 50 GI, which is pretty much just a fatter 45 ACP when it comes down to ballistics and velocity. It's another, sub 900 feet per second on average. Things to look out for in your moon clips as you use them. I check mine pretty frequently. One at a time, I'll just hold them up like this, right to my eye, and I'll see if it's not entirely 100% flat, and I see any sort of warping or any sort of maybe one of these tabs is just out of line just a little bit. I immediately become skeptical of the clip's integrity as far as usability goes, or I guess user friendliness. A few problems can occur when you have some bent moons. These aren't the best snap caps to demonstrate with, but so when you put them in, as you can see, it's right up against that back face on the inside of the frame. And when you're pulling the trigger, if you have any type of warping that will cause the moon to apply pressures, because what happens is, it's like my hands are the moon clip, and when it's warped at all, now you're applying pressures both towards the rear and towards the face, back face of your cylinder, back face of the frame, and it causes like a pinching effect, and that can really affect your trigger pull. What happens is your trigger will stiffen right up. It'll become very heavy on the trigger pull. Sometimes it could get so heavy that you feel like you can't even pull it. And then also as well, let's say you actually get them in there and you go for the close, you might feel them scraping on the close. It'll feel like a lot more resistance to close that cylinder than normal. And third thing, not sure how many I'm doing here, but definitely a third thing is when you actually drop the clip in, well, this is just terrible snap cap shape, but notice how they just drop right in, right? No problem. Well, what can happen is it can just apply resistance and pressure against the inside of the chambers, causing them to, even to the point of getting stuck, like you can just get them stuck trying to push them in. And they won't go in all the way sometimes. Depends on how severe the warping is, depends on the ammunition casings, it all depends. Now, speaking of ammo casings, I do want to say, now because the casings from brand to brand of ammunition can be just a touch, just a hair different, they do actually make moon clips for specific brands. Now, they make general moon clips, and generally most of the moon clips will fit most ammunition. But there are different tolerances. There can be different tolerances for the shape of the casing overall, and this lip right here can be different from brand to brand. And so what they'll do is they'll make the moon clips to within whatever, how many thousandths of an inch that is most appropriate for that brand. And then you can know that, hey, every time I buy this brand of casing at least, or this brand of ammunition, that this is the moon clip that'll hold it the best, secure it the best. With continual use, the moon clips can get a little wobbly. As you can see, there's always a little bit of a wobble to the ammunition on the moon clip. Sometimes that wobble can be a lot more obnoxious. If it gets too out of hand, it can affect your reload. But yeah, it can cause you to get a hang up and slow down overall, become less efficient. So it's generally good to have it generally tight on the moon clip. If it's not the tightest, if it's not like sticking straight 90 degrees from the moon clip, it's fine. It's not a big deal. You could still use it. It's just when it gets way too wobbly, then you start having problems. And normally if it's way too wobbly, it's actually probably too loose to even really stay in the moon clip all too well. Now I want to get into a couple techniques of loading moons and unloading moons. I think I've only ever bent one moon clip on accident while loading ammunition. Here I have a tool here, and this tool came with my 327WR, which is a very big disappointment, which, by the way, yes, I do still got to read the emails. I haven't even touched that video yet. I haven't even started it. I know it's going to take like 10 hours of total work, so I'm waiting for a time where I really can sit down and buckle down on it. But this came with the WR, and this is a typical moon clip loader. The way it works is you got your moon clip, you put it on there. Now this is why I don't use it actually, is because you actually have to like manually line it up into place. And then once you have it lined up in place, see, I can't even demonstrate it. I haven't used this at all hardly. Once you have it in place, you pull this lever and it clips it into the moon clip. Now in my opinion, that is so much more annoying. I guess I was using, this is for a specific brand of moon clips actually. This is for these moon clips, because it has the circular post. But either way, nonetheless, it's still like an annoyance, you know, to physically put the moon clip on here, grab your next casing, put it on there, give it one of these, rotate it, grab your next casing. That's too much. It's way too much. Look at this. Look. And of course, these are already fired, but I mean, it's as easy as this, right? You got the moon clip, boom, boom, right? Like, it's really not that bad. If you work blue collar at all, I think you wouldn't have a hard time with it. Like, I understand some people, I do have calluses. It's not like I have soft hands necessarily. I do understand that someone with softer hands, which is, you know, it's fine to have softer hands. It's not a big deal. I understand why they might prefer this tool over doing it by hand. To me, it's never been a problem these past 2 years. I've always just done it by hand. As you can see, I could put them on and I could take them off by hand. It's all about keeping the moon clip straight. So you see, I'll put some pressure here with my pinky, pushing straight down. My thumb isn't only pushing straight up, but it almost has some torque this way with it. So it doesn't pull like, so I don't do one of these. If you're doing one of these, you might bend your moon clip. You want to just straight. And of course it goes flying. But yeah, still not bent. We're good. When I'm feeling a little speedier, now of course I'll always load them by hand. These come in handy for both. Now, every once in a while I do get one that is a little tough to load by hand. So if you just take it and give it a pinch just like that, you want to have it. So notice how the prong is directly underneath the casing and directly above the casing. That's what you want. You don't want it to be, you know, off center. You just got to have everything centered. You got to have the forces going directly along with the length of the moon clip. And of course, same thing here. You could just take pliers, get a nice good grip on there, and plier it off, plier it back on. As long as you're pulling straight off and pushing straight on, you shouldn't really be bending moon clips. Of course, things happen, you know, but shout out to Jerry Michalek for this tip, of course. He's the OG. Now, this is a tool I could really get behind. I actually really like this. It should have been a thinner metal, because what happens is it pushes the neighboring casings apart when you have one on both sides. It's like it's almost too fat for the space. But all you do is you just put it on. There's this little lip of metal here that just lines up with the edge, and then you just give it a perfect twist. Now, of course, you got to keep everything, you know, tight. Keep the grip on the moon tight, and then you got to keep this twist you don't want to twist it like this. You're going to bend it, of course. Speed Beast typically includes one of these. And it's the same concept. You just put that down. It overlaps with the moon, and then you rotate it off. Pops right off. As you can see, there's quite a few correct ways to do this, quite a few wrong ways to do this. I could see why someone could easily wreck a clip, because after all, first off, I mean, look at how much material is this way, and then look how much material is that way. It's not much material. I can bend this with my fingers right now if I wanted to, but I don't want to throw $1 away right now. So I have stepped on moons before. They typically don't last when you step on them. That's usually the end of it once you once you step on it even a little bit. It's no big deal, but you know, this is why I say buy bulk. I like Speed Bee's bulk the most. I'm not even sponsored by them. I'll tell you that right now. I think it's the best value right now. But for the price, like the 50 or the 100 pack, I can't remember what it was. For the price, I mean, it is a lot of money to drop on moons in one go, but you'll have those moons for actually a long time. Like, it's not. You're not going to get rid of those moons very quick unless you're like deliberately destroying them. So I nearly forgot to say, actually, this is a very important one, and it's actually the reason why I do the 2R2s so often, so frequently, is not only to save ammo, but also I don't start with more than 4 on the starting clip, so I'll load a moon with the only half loaded into my 929. To perform those 2R2s, and that's to add a little bit of weight to it, but not too much weight. If you have all 8 on there and you shoot the 2 and then you eject quickly, you eject the last remaining 6 on the moon clip, and it falls all the way to the ground and smacks the ground. Maybe not that time, but by like the second or third time you do it, it for sure starts warping the clip to a noticeable amount, which can affect the performance, which is why I don't use fully loaded moon clips when I do 2R2s, because I learned that pretty quick, actually. I learned that one on my own. If you're doing 2R2s, 1R1s, 3R3s even, just keep it to a half-loaded moon clip, alright? There's no need to load the whole entire thing for your starting clip. Of course, your next load should be a full moon, however, you know, I don't care. Train how you want. Do what you want. I'm just telling you guys what I know, and that's what I know about it. And hopefully this answered some questions for some people, anyone looking into this sport, anyone trying to get into it. And have a good day. Peace out.